We've all had that moment. I mean, you plug in a brand new 4K source, you're all excited, and you just get a black screen. No signal.
Oh, absolutely. Or, what's almost worse, you get the picture, but there's just no audio.
The dreaded HDMI handshake failure. It's so frustrating because you assume it's digital, you know? It either works or it doesn't.
But it's not that simple. It's really more of a very delicate conversation between devices.
And that's exactly why we're looking at the Key Digital KD FIX418A-3 today. The name is a mouthful, but they call it an HDMI fixer, which sounds, I don't know, a bit simple.
It does, but it's more like a diplomat for your whole AV setup, a very strict one.
Right. So this deep dive is all about those invisible conversations, these handshakes, and how a tool like this can step in when they break down.
Exactly. How it forces them to talk to each other properly.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. The EDH handshake, the source asks the display, what can you handle? So why does this fail so often, especially with 4K gear?
Well, it's not just about bandwidth. The biggest problem is the complexity of the chain.
You mean all the devices in between?
Yeah. The signal goes through your receiver, then maybe a matrix switch, then a super long cable. By the end of that, the EDI data, which is basically the display's resume, can get corrupted.
And the source just what? Panics.
It panics. It either defaults to a safe resolution, like 720p, or just gives up completely.
So this little box, the KD-FIX418A-3, it does something different.
It takes a totally different approach. It has an internal library of, I think, 15 preset EDI'd handshakes for 4K, for HDR, for different audio formats.
So it doesn't even bother asking the display down the line.
It intercepts the request and immediately gives the source a perfect answer. It's essentially spoofing the display's credentials.
It pretends to be the perfect 4K HDR display no matter what's actually connected.
Exactly. It forces the source to output that high-quality signal you paid for.
That handles the software side, but I saw a physical switch on it for HPD, forced hot plug detection. Why would you need to force that?
In those complex installs, you're dealing with voltage drops. HPD is just a tiny voltage signal that tells the source, hey, something is physically plugged in.
And with too many connections, that voltage can just disappear?
It can dip below the threshold. So the source thinks the cable is unplugged and it just goes to sleep.
So this device just holds that voltage high. It tells the source there's always a live display ready to go.
Always. Which means you can power cycle your projector or swap inputs without the whole system needing to reset. It adds a ton of stability.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about when you have mixed resolutions? I've got my main 4K projector, but also a little 1080p monitor for control.
Yeah.
The whole system usually drops to 1080p, right?
That's the standard, yeah. The lowest common denominator wins. But this has a built-in down converter.
On one of the outputs.
Right. It takes the 4K signal, passes it through untouched to your projector, but at the same time, it scales a copy down to 1080p for that other monitor.
So you don't have to sacrifice the quality on your main display just because of a secondary screen. That's huge.
And it solves the audio problem, too.
How so?
That's where the audio de-embedding comes in. It can pull the audio stream right out of the HDMI.
And send it out separately.
Yep, through optical or even 3.5 millimeter analog jack. So you can send multi-channel audio to your main system, but maybe just simple stereo to an old soundbar that doesn't even have HDMI.
So it's a bridge between new HDMI-only sources and older analog audio gear. Now, one last thing in the specs, this full buffer system. Is that just marketing, or is it actually doing something to the signal?
No, it's real processing. It's all about signal regeneration. It reclocks the TMDS data stream.
So it's cleaning up the signal.
It's cleaning up the timing. Over long cables, you get these tiny timing errors that can cause, those little white sparkles or a quick black screen flash.
Ah, I've seen those.
This buffer basically rebuilds the signal to be perfectly timed before sending it on its way.
So when you put it all together, it really is a kind of connectivity repair kit. It solves the resolution mismatch, the audio routing, and the handshake failures.
It's the box you install when the smart features on your expensive gear just aren't smart enough to talk to each other.
Which brings up a really interesting paradox, doesn't it? We keep pushing for 8K and beyond, but we need these little third-party boxes just to make the current standard work reliably.
It does make you wonder, if the big brands could just agree on a truly robust, universal standard, a whole market for these fixer devices wouldn't even need to exist.
We're basically buying hardware to fix software disagreements between manufacturers.
Paying a premium to make the standard actually standard? It's something to think about on your next big install.
A sobering thought for sure. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.